Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place you come to really cut through the noise, get informed.
Glad to be here.
Today, we've got this fascinating stack of sources. Really interesting stuff.
It really is.
We're looking at inclusion, equality, and consensus building. Key ideas.
Absolutely vital concepts.
And we're zeroing in on Ghana, seeing how these play out, on the ground.
Which is so important, taking it from theory to reality.
Right. So our mission today is basically to unpack these ideas, see what happens when they meet the real complex world of a diverse nation.
And it's crucial, isn't it? Especially in diverse societies like Ghana. Understanding this helps grasp, well, how nations really strive for well-being and development.
Yeah.
This is a chance for you, the listener, to get beyond just the buzzwords, see the nuances.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with inclusion.
Yes.
What are our sources really saying it is?
Well, it goes deeper than just letting people in.
Right. Not just about access.
Not just access, it's about actively considering everyone's interests, their aspirations, their views, when you're actually making policies and implementing them for the good of the whole society.
So it's less about just counting heads, more about making every head count, making their perspective matter.
Precisely. And the sources break down some really key features of this.
Okay.
First, there's equal access to opportunities. That's the baseline. Education, jobs, healthcare.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a fair shot.
A foundation, sort of.
Exactly. But then, crucially, there's representation in decision-making.
Meaning?
Meaning those groups that maybe haven't had a voice historically, the marginalized groups, their views need to be heard where decisions are actually made.
Right, in the policy rooms.
Yes. And that leads towards social equity, which is about fairness, justice, actively tackling those historical inequalities, not just pretending they didn't happen.
So fixing past wrongs, in a way.
In a way, yes. It also demands non-discrimination, fighting bias based on, race, gender, disability, all those categories, and cultural sensitivity, recognizing and respecting different backgrounds, plus active participation, encouraging involvement.
And support for vulnerable groups, too, right? Like specific resources.
Absolutely. Targeted support for women, ethnic minorities, people with disabilities, those who might need extra help to level the playing field.
That's a pretty comprehensive picture. So if that's what inclusion is trying to achieve, what are the problems it's designed to fix? What's the backstory here?
Well, the sources point to a history in many places, including Ghana, of the exclusion of certain groups.
True.
Women, ethnic minorities, people with disabilities, often shut out from key parts of society, economic, political life.
Which naturally leads to them being underrepresented when decisions get made.
Exactly, underrepresentation in decision-making. So policies get made about them, not with them.
Right.
Big difference.
I can see that.
Then there's the lack of equal access to resources. Basic stuff sometimes, like good schools, healthcare, jobs, creates these deep-rooted disadvantages. And often this is all tangled up with actual discriminatory practices and wider social and economic inequality.
Disparities in income, living standards,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Right. And sometimes limited legal protections, plus dealing with stereotypes and prejudices. Inclusion policies aim to dismantle all that, address those imbalances.
Okay, so let's pivot. Ghana. This is where it gets really interesting seeing in practice. What specific inclusion challenges is Ghana facing, according to our sources?
Ghana provides some really potent examples. For instance, the sources discuss discrimination against LGBTQ plus individuals.
Oh, yeah?
It's noted as a significant social and legal challenge. There are ongoing discussions, complex ones about legal reforms, public awareness, while also, the sources mention, needing to respect existing societal norms and traditions to preserve cultural identity.
Wow, that sounds like walking a very fine line. Requires careful dialogue.
Extremely careful, inclusive dialogue. It's presented as a real balancing act.
Are there other major areas?
Oh, yes. Gender inequality is a big one. Women face barriers, political participation, economic opportunities, even education sometimes.
Yeah, solutions.
Things like empowering women in leadership roles, pushing for equal pay enforcement, supporting education and entrepreneurship for women.
Makes sense. What about disability?
Disability inclusion, yeah, big challenges there too. Accessing education, finding jobs, using public services, often due to physical barriers or just systemic ones.
So what helps?
Strengthening disability rights laws, definitely. Making buildings and transport more accessible. Providing vocational training and employment support. Concrete steps. And then there's the issue of ethnic and regional disparities.
Ah, yes. You mentioned minorities earlier.
Particularly affecting ethnic minorities, often concentrated in the northern regions, which tend to be less developed.
So how is Ghana tackling that?
Through specific regional development policies, trying to ensure fairer access to resources and pushing for more equitable representation in government.
It feels like a pattern. Education keeps coming up.
It does. Educational access for marginalized communities is another key area. Quality education in rural and poorer areas is often limited.
Solutions there.
Yeah.
Infrastructure.
Expanding infrastructure, yes, but also scholarships, better teacher training for those areas, and youth unemployment is a related struggle, especially for young people in marginalized areas.
Jobs programs. Training?
Exactly. Job creation initiatives, vocational training, supporting young entrepreneurs, and finally, health inequities.
Similar pattern to education. Urban versus rural.
Very similar. Uneven access to healthcare, particularly in rural and underserved regions. So solutions involve expanding clinics, getting more health professionals out to remote areas, and promoting inclusive health policies overall.
It really sounds like tackling these issues requires everyone pulling together. Government, civil society.
International partners, too, often. It's a collaborative effort. No single entity can fix it all.
Right. Okay, so that's inclusion in Ghana. Now, let's bring in the next set of concepts. Equality, equity, and consensus building. These terms get used a lot, sometimes interchangeably.
They do, but they're distinct.
Yeah.
Let's start with equality. Our sources define equality as basically providing everyone with the same opportunities, removing barriers so everyone starts at the same line.
Like giving everyone the same bicycle to race.
Exactly, same starting line, same bike. That's equality.
But that doesn't always lead to a fair race, does it?
Precisely, and that's where equity comes in. This is what's fascinating here.
What?
Equity recognizes that people don't start from the same place. They have different circumstances, different needs.
Oh.
So equity isn't about giving everyone the same thing. It's about giving people the specific support they need to achieve a fair outcome.
So back to the race. Maybe one person needs a different kind of bike or a head start to have a truly fair chance.
Exactly that. Or think of the classic image. 3 people trying to see over a fence. Equality gives them all the same size box to stand on.
Right. Which might not help the shortest person at all.
Correct. Equity gives each person the height of box they need to actually see over the fence. It's about fairness in the outcome, achieved through tailored support.
That's a really clear distinction. Equality is sameness of input. Equity is fairness of outcome.
You've got it. It's a subtle but vital difference for societal well-being.
Okay, so where does consensus building fit into achieving equality and especially equity?
Consensus building is kind of the how-to. It's the engine.
The engine.
Yeah, the sources describe it as this collaborative decision-making process. You bring together all the different interests, the stakeholders, explore the issues together, and work towards an agreement that everyone, or at least most people, can genuinely support.
So it's about getting buy-in, making sure solutions aren't just imposed.
Exactly. It ensures all those diverse perspectives, especially the ones needed for equity, are not just heard, but actually shape the final decision. It's how you translate the idea of equity into practical, agreed-upon action.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's connect this back to Ghana again. What are the specific equality and equity challenges there, and how can consensus building help tackle them?
Well, Ghana faces challenges that really underscore why equity, not just equality, is needed. Take education disparities again.
Urban versus rural.
Yes, big gaps there. Lack of resources, fewer qualified teachers in remote areas, plus specific challenges for girls, maybe due to cultural norms or financial pressures. Just saying schools are open to all isn't enough for equity.
Right. You need targeted support.
Exactly. Same with healthcare inequality. Services packed in cities, leaving rural areas behind, leads to huge differences in health outcomes. That's an equity issue.
There's economic inequality.
Definitely. Economic inequality between regions, between groups. Women, ethnic minorities, people with disabilities often getting fewer opportunities, lower pay. That's not equal opportunity in practice. Gender inequality persists too, despite laws. Discrimination in the workplace, women struggling to get into leadership roles.
And disability discrimination.
Still a major barrier. Disability discrimination, both social attitudes and physical things like inaccessible buildings, limits access to education, jobs, public life.
We touched on ethnic issues before, too.
Yes, ethnic disparities. Some groups facing discrimination or lack of representation, which affects how resources get distributed. Then there's the legal and social discrimination we mentioned.
For LGBTQ plus individuals and other minorities.
Right. Limited legal protection, ongoing stigma. These are deep equity challenges. And overarching all this are the stark regional disparities.
Oh, North versus South.
Generally, yes. The northern regions facing greater poverty, less infrastructure, fewer economic chances compared to the South. That's a massive equity challenge at a national scale.
Wow, that is a lot to grapple with. So what does this all mean for finding solutions? How can consensus building actually, move the needle on these deep-seated problems?
Its real power lies in how it brings people together, for instance, tackling those rural education gaps. Consensus building promotes inclusive dialogue. It gets parents, teachers, local chiefs, government officials all in the same room, actually talking and listening.
Not just talking at each other.
Hopefully not. The goal is collaborative solutions. They work together to design something that fits that community. Maybe it's mobile libraries, maybe it's a special teacher incentive program.
Something they all agree on.
Which leads to shared ownership. When people help create the solution, they're more invested in making it work. It's more sustainable than a top-down order.
That makes sense. Shared responsibility.
Exactly. And this process facilitates tailored interventions. It recognizes communities aren't all the same. You need different approaches for different circumstances to get equitable results.
Like targeted programs.
Right. Developed with community input. Consensus building can also reduce resistance to change. If you need to shift traditional norms, say around gender roles, involving respected community leaders in the consensus process can be crucial for gaining acceptance. It builds trust.
Working from within.
Yes, and it fundamentally enhances representation. It ensures those marginalized groups do have a voice in decisions affecting them, which directly helps tackle regional and ethnic disparities.
And legal issues.
Yeah.
Like the LGBTQ plus situation.
It can drive legal reforms, bringing lawmakers, activists, legal experts, and importantly, members of the affected communities together to build a case for change, to find common ground or pathways forward.
A unified front.
Potentially, yes. And ultimately, all this shared work promotes accountability. When everyone's involved in setting the equity goals, everyone shares responsibility for reaching them. Leads to fairer, more effective policies.
This deep dive really has shown how these concepts, inclusion, equality, equity, consensus, aren't just abstract ideals.
No, they're very real.
They're being actively worked through, challenged, shaped right now in places like Ghana. We've sort of moved from the textbook definition to the messy, complex, but vital reality.
Absolutely. And seeing it through the lens of Ghana makes it so much more concrete, doesn't it?
It really does.
And maybe this raises an important question for you listening at home to think about. How might these principles, especially equity, that idea of tailored support and consensus building, the collaborative approach, how might they offer insights for tackling similar challenges in societies you're familiar with?
That's a great question.
Yeah, just thinking about the power of that tailored support and, deciding things together, how that could really foster genuine societal well-being elsewhere, too.
Definitely something to mull over. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive.
My pleasure.
Keep exploring, keep questioning. We'll see you next time.